You have to truly believe in the magic.
What's up, Magic fans? I'm Mikey, and welcome to the Penny Few Thoughts podcast, the UK weekly podcast covering the Orlando Magic. Today is Thursday, the 30th of September, 2021. On today's episode, we are going to be going through our fifth and final Eastern Conference preview. We're going to be looking at the New York Knicks with UK Knicks fan Martin Halsey. But before that, me and G, we're going to break down the five remaining teams. We've not had a chance to do everybody before training camp and pre-season, but we thought we'd try and fill the time. We're getting some UK guests on. So we've run out of time, but we're gonna go through those other five teams later in the episode, including the Wizards, Hawks, and then for next week, Pacers as well. And then for next week, we're going to turn our attention fully back to the Magic as we normally do. Paul will be back next week as well. The three of us, we've all had crazy schedules going on over the last 3-4 weeks. So next week, we'll be back to a normal schedule covering the Magic. And we got basketball next week, which is even better. So, but before that, invite our the Brooklyn. What was it I said to before we jumped on? You said not to bring up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I basically said are the Brooklyn Nets of the NFL. So
yeah, I just said don't mention the game against the Los Angeles Rams from Sunday. So I know you're wearing your Miami, not your Miami Dolphins. No, I know you're wearing your Vegas Raider jersey there, mate. And I'm sure you're very happy with the win over the Miami Dolphins, is what I meant to say. Knowing there's a few Dolphin Magic fans amongst our UK community. So you happy with that, mate?
Mate, 3-0, best start for 19 years. I'm gonna milk it for as much as I can, because that's what we always say. It doesn't last very long, but no, they play really well. Second win of the season that they've overcome a 14-0 deficit, winning in overtime against the Dolphins. I mean, they probably should have held on and won it towards the end of the game anyway. But yeah, it's the Raiders way. We never make it easy for ourselves. So yeah, let's hope we're at the Chargers this week, which is basically a home game because LA's a Raider town anyway. So yeah, we'll see what goes down.
Are you getting nosebleed there, mate? You've never been this high up the
mate, the top of the AFC at the moment. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Happy
it's
days.
All right. We'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, and this is the other thing. We still haven't even played that well. We haven't had Josh Jacobs for 2 weeks, and we've still got some key injuries. We've lost players already for the season. So yeah, we're not even anywhere near where we could be yet. So yeah, exciting times. So how are you then, mate? You good?
I'm all right, thank you. Other than my sports team's not doing very well, with Cardiff losing again. Shipping 9 goals in 2 games now, and then the Bucks losing. At least the Rays, I think they secured the home field advantage all the way through to the World Series. So that's one shining light for the Central Florida community. So no, I'm good, thank you, mate.
I feel like you say that every single year. My teams aren't doing very well. Well, there we go. Never mind. So like I said, Paul will be back next week. I think we plan on recording on Thursday next week. Which will be bang in the middle of the 4 preseason games. So the Magic play on Monday night, first preseason game at Boston, which is a 12:30 a.m. tip-off for us in the UK. And then on Wednesday, the Magic travel to New Orleans to face the Pelicans, which is a 1 a.m. tip-off. And then we'll record on Thursday. So we'll wrap up some of the stuff we haven't really had a chance to talk about. We'll talk about those 2 preseason games. I'm not sure whether they're being televised yet. I'm not quite sure if that's been announced or not. And then we've got two more preseason games before they have a bit of time off, and then we're straight into the season. So yeah, good times. So you excited for preseason, G?
Yeah, man. It's been too long without basketball, hasn't it? It's just nice to see everyone get back out on the court, see how the rookies fare with their new teammates, see what system Coach Mosley adopts for the team. The preseason games are going to be, 15-man deep roster, so the starters aren't going to play that much minutes, so they, as we normally see But it'd just be nice to get back into basketball. 4 Magic games, and I'm sure we'll just tune into some other teams as well, just so we can watch some basketball on the telly. So exciting times.
Good stuff. Yeah, nice that the Magic will be playing ball next week. So the Magic this week had media day on Monday, like many of the teams in the NBA. I've had a chance to watch most of the players' interviews, including the controversial Jonathan Isaac one, which we'll talk a little bit about. We're not going to dwell too much on that because it's been covered a lot by some of our friends on other podcasts. But yeah, Magic had their media day Monday. I think everyone seemed pretty upbeat. I know you've not had a chance to watch everyone, G, but what did you take away?
I just love the attitude and the togetherness from the guys. What's nice is that they're all in and around the same age, between 21 and 25 mostly. You got some jokers in there in Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, and that came across on the media day, them just taking the mic off, asking them random questions, taking the mick out of the haircuts, this, that, and the other. But then you even got Gary Harris getting involved, asking Dan Savage if he was savage, and he comes from a long line of savages. So that it's nice to hear and see. The media day, it's a bit like Christmas Day, isn't it? Because the season's just around the corner. All the guys get kitted out in the new, jerseys. It's a shame we haven't got a new jersey because, we might have had a glimpse of something, but it's just the usual ones again this season.
What do you think, just while you're on the jerseys, what do you think to the silver Nike tick on the jersey? Are you a fan of that at all? Yeah,
and the 75th anniversary, is it anniversary?
Yeah.
75th year. Let's be honest. Me, I've got so many jerseys. I'm going to have to get one just to have that one. So, I'll probably be ordering my Jalen Suggs one at some point. I
think that tick's a little bit like the one that we had on the Earn jersey last year.
Earn jerseys.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, excited to get going. And media day is just the first time. And then you get all the guys, Dante, David Steele, Dan Savage, everyone back. And it's like everyone's back after the summer, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think the enthusiasm's there, that you can tell that from the coaching staff. You can tell that from the veterans on the team. You can tell that from the young players. Jalen Suggs just was smiling at the end of every single answer that he's been given this week. So, we'll see how long that lasts for, because once we get into the thick of the season, it might change. But there we go. It's like you said, it's like Christmas and media day. So really the main interest around media day was Jonathan Isaac's comments, and I felt a bit sorry for the guy because he didn't really get asked many questions about basketball. It was all to do about his vaccination status and the Rolling Stones article. So if you haven't had a chance, or if you've been living under a rock for the last 3-4 days, there was a Rolling Stones article that I think was headlined, Jonathan Isaac is proudly unvaccinated, and I don't think it portrayed him as he'd hoped to come across. And it sort of painted a bit of a bad picture for him, which I think a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon before they actually heard Jonathan speak. And then obviously when he spoke on media day, I think he gave a clearer idea of why he's taken the stance that he is. But have you got any thoughts, G? I know we're both vaccinated and the stats are there, aren't they? I think there's a lot of misconceptions. And my view is the whole point of the vaccination is not to stop people getting COVID, or you're trying to reduce the risk of people ending up in hospital and ending up seriously ill with it. That's the whole point of the vaccine. So, sorry, mate. What you was going to say? Yeah.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. That's the whole point of it, isn't it? Nobody wants to end up in hospital, and if you've got an opportunity to have something that's going to reduce that, then I'm all for it. He's obviously got his own reasons, some natural immunity, I think he said, which is totally fine, and it's his body. He should do what he wants, with the option of having the vaccination. But end of the day, he's an Orlando Magic player. I'm going to support Jonathan, whatever he chooses. If he chooses not to have it, totally fine. It's his body, but end of the day, we're Magic fans. We're going to support the team. We're going to support the players, and whatever they choose, I'm behind them the whole way. But interestingly, there's a few other players in the league that are also unvaccinated. Just going through a couple of them. Well, Kyrie Irving has said that he's not telling anyone if he's is or not. Bradley Beal isn't,
and that's fair.
Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Michael Porter Jr. And then Andrew Wiggins. But of course, Andrew Wiggins is in a position where he's playing in the state of California. Now, California, I think the governor said that any indoor sporting activities, that if you're unvaccinated, you won't be able to play. So that will rule him out of every Golden State home game, road games against the Kings, the Clippers, and the Lakers. So you're probably looking at him playing, 34, 35 games next season as, just a member on the road. So that's going to be difficult and tricky. And I mean, what happens if Golden State get to the playoffs and just say they play the Clippers or the Lakers? That'll basically rule him out for the whole series. So it's a bone of contention for Golden State and these teams. But end of the day, it's the individual's body, and they should be able to do exactly what they want to do. They shouldn't be pressurized by anybody to do. And
that goes without saying with anything, isn't it? We're all individuals. You got to make an informed decision. Do your research, make sure it's the right thing for you. Again, it's not just protecting you, it's protecting other people around you. But hey, we're not here to bang on about the vaccine. We're here to talk about the Magic. But yeah, like you said, it's going to have implications for those players that aren't or deciding not to take it at the moment. Bobby Marks tweeted out yesterday that the NBA's health and safety protocols have basically made it clear that vaccinated players will basically be separated from unvaccinated players in the locker room this season. Things like when they're in the weights room, they're going to have to be separated. When they're on the road, they're going to have to remain in the hotel. So a lot of the same sort of things that we heard about last season when teams were traveling and they were on the road. Hey, it's evolving, isn't it? Things are changing all the time. We might get halfway through the season and some of this might change. Players might change their stance. But yeah, anyway, right, let's move on because that's enough about that. So there we go. So obviously today's Thursday. So the Magic are basically wrapping up day 3 of training camp this week. So they're doing their preparations, getting ready for pre-season and the season ahead. Yeah, there's not really much to say about that because we only get to see a few clips from some of the media that they stick up. I know Fultz and Isaac have basically been ruled out to start the season, but they are practicing. They are getting shots up. They are in the gym. They are practicing with everybody. The Magic are obviously being cautious, aren't they, in terms of bringing them back? So, what have you got?
One thing on that.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, I just having a look at some of the videos that are released, and I thought Markel's shot, it looks a lot smoother. So he's been working on his jump shot, and the mechanics of it looks, pretty good. So be interesting to see how that translates when he's actually on the court playing in a full 5-on-5 game. But signs are encouraging. And then, other than that, you see the odd bit, don't you? So it's hard to judge and comment on anything, to be honest.
Like you said, from those few clips, he certainly looks like he's got a higher release on those jump shots. But again, it's practice. Do you know what I mean? And it's like watching a hype video almost, isn't it? Like you can only take so much from it. We want to see him back out on the court, don't we? Sooner rather than later. Cool. So as we've been doing the last few weeks, we're still taking entries for the Jalen Suggs jersey giveaway that we're doing. our friends from the NBA Store Europe and Fanatics UK are giving away an Orlando Magic Jalen Jugs. Jalen Jugs.
Oh, you're going to have to edit that.
No chance. No, I'll keep that in there. It's funny. An Orlando Magic Jalen Suggs jersey to one lucky winner. So you need to do two things. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment in the episode looking at the 21-22 schedule. Tell us which Magic player you're most looking forward to watching the most this season. When we hit 500 followers on our YouTube channel, we'll do the prize draw for that jersey on a future episode. And on to our New York Knicks team preview this week with UK Knicks fan Martin Hazley. Yes, got it right. There you go. Martin, thanks for joining us, mate. Can you explain to all our listeners who you are, how you became a Knicks fan, and how you got started with the account UK Knicks?
Yeah, so cheers, thanks for having me. I've always been a fan of basketball, and I went to New York City and fell in love with the city, fell in love with the team, and sort of early in the 2010s, and went yearly to watch the games. It got to sort of the summer in maybe 2018, 2019, and I thought, why not set up an account? I'm boring everyone to tears with my personal account talking Knicks and no one cares. So, yeah, I thought I'd make the Knicks UK account. And, it's great to interact with all the Knicks fans across the world, but also all the other accounts for all the other teams in the UK.
Good
stuff. And you're a Wigan fan as well. Mikey forgot to mention that. We had to get that in there, mate.
Yeah, up the ticks.
Absolutely.
Up the ticks. Flying at the minute. You've got Kiefer. I'm a bit gutted about that, but no, I'm glad to see him. Glad to see him do well in the tournament as well.
Yeah, he's doing well, but our team isn't. But there we go. So Matt, how happy are you with the Knicks off season this last summer?
Yeah, I mean, extremely happy. There wasn't much of a change in terms of any big marquee signings, but what the Knicks did is they filled areas of need. They got a point guard who can shoot. They got I don't know if you ever heard of him, a French player, Evan Fournier, who can fill in at the 2-3. He could put the ball, on the floor and shoot it a little bit. And it was just something that the Knicks lacked in the first round loss against the Hawks. Great to get Kemba, massive upgrade on Elfrid. He got a lot of stick last year, rightly so. The Knicks going to drop off a bit defensively, maybe, but they've brought back a lot of the players who really played well last year. Noel, Derrick Rose, Alec Burks. And really looking forward to the season. A lot of stability, unlike the Brooklyn Nets, who may well be without a point guard for a considerable period of the season.
Yeah, I was going to mention the noisy neighbours, shall we call them? You think they've had a decent off season?
I mean, Paul Millsap's a good signing. Paddy Mills is a good signing. Locking up KD for long term is good for them. But I mean, they're going to have the same problem, aren't they? Is keeping everybody on the court. You've got one guy who quite clearly likes the limelight on himself, despite what he says to the media. And I just think they invite pressure on themselves. But we'll see how they go. They're a great team. I wouldn't be a basketball fan if I didn't recognise that they had loads of talent. But at the end of the day, I'm chuffed with where the Knicks are. The real good feeling about the place. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett give that vibe of hard work. And you look across the Brooklyn Bridge and you look at those three guys: Discount, Code Harden, KD, and Kyrie, who can't be bothered and turns up whenever he wants. It's I don't know. Nets fans can be Nets fans. I'm not going to criticise anyone for doing that, but it's just a real good feeling about the Knicks and such an easy team to root for.
It's just a shame last season we didn't get a playoff series between you two franchises, because that would have been tasty in the off season, wouldn't it? Yeah,
I'd be a bit worried about the outcome of the series, to be honest. But no, the Knicks last year went beyond all expectations. They sort of went out in the first round with a bit of a whimper, but it was a massive step forwards. We've got a guy, Julius Randle, who the year before looked, I'm not going to say he didn't look an NBA player, but he certainly wasn't a number one option. And last year he just proved everyone wrong, and the majority of Knicks fans, myself included, wrong. And it was, as I say, just guys like that who were just easy to root for, and guys, you got Kemba coming back, New Yorker, who's obviously going to be an upgrade at point guard. You hear the Celtics fans saying, Kemba's this last year, he was this and he can't shoot, he's always injured, he's not consistent, but the Knicks got him at $8 million a year, not at the max contract. So there's a big difference, and I think he's just a massive upgrade over Peyton.
And you upgraded the end of your bench with Dwayne Bacon. Aye. Yeah.
He's fighting to get in the roster against, I don't know if you know, the Argentinian guard Bill Dozer and Kevin Knox. So that should be interesting going into training camp, because the rest of the roster is pretty much sorted. But another ex-Magic player fighting to get on the next roster.
He's a decent player, in fairness, isn't he, Mikey? You give him the opportunity, he can put the ball in the hoop. But he's not, your starter material, is he?
He's a decent player to bring in,
role player
off the end of the bench. His biggest thing he got criticised for was when the ball touches his hands. That's it. He's going to shoot every time down the floor. So yeah, that's it. And he's a bit of a ball hog. But yeah, there we go. So that's enough said about Dwayne Bacon. So what's your expectations for the season there, Martin? So you've added Fournier, you've got a bit more scoring now to go with Randall and RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
What do you hope for this season?
I think we're sort of going to. I think we're going to be in around a similar range, sort of maybe the 4th to 7th seed, maybe. I think it'll be relatively close in the East, with a lot of the teams making upgrades. I think some of those teams, the Chicago Bulls being one of them, their off season's massively overrated, but they definitely did improve. So I think they'll be in and around that sort of 45 win mark. The defense is probably going to fall off a little bit when you're adding Kemba. I'm not saying Elfrid Payton was some lockdown defender, but there's a way in which the scheme worked, because he's a big guard who can play some defense, play a bit physical, and then you lose Bullock, so the defense is going to go down. I think they were a top 5 defense in the league last year, but offensively they're going to jump up. I mean, Payton, as you'll fully be aware, cannot shoot to save his life. Doesn't really do anything other than get in the lane and throw it up at the hoop. And then Bullock is a 3-point specialist and can't put the ball on the floor. So Fournier's got loads more weapons, can handle the ball, put the ball on the floor and shoot the 3. I think he's even got a better percentage. So the Knicks will no doubt be better offensively. So as I say, 45 wins would be my prediction. Nothing too glamorous, but certainly an improvement, whether that be in wins, but definitely a team that's on the rise.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you on your comments on Fournier there. He is someone who's capable of putting the ball on the floor, creating a shot, and just being that crafty guy who can just sort of wriggle himself to the basket and just get a layup. So with Fournier joining the roster, if you were looking for your best 5, game on the line now, who's your Knicks 5 on the floor with the ball in hand, down 1? Give me a 5.
So down 1, I think we go Kemba. I think you go Rose.
No, actually, let's go down 2. Let's go down 2, and I want you also to tell me who takes the last shot, and if it's a 2 or a 3.
Okay. Oh, okay. Nice.
You more time to think.
Yeah. So right, I think Kemba's got to be there just because of shot making ability from behind the arc, and he's going to create some space if we opt for the 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek, quickly. you know what, we're going for the 3, so I'm going to play quickly. I'm going to have him on the perimeter. He's going to be danger man. I'm going to have Fournier out there on the perimeter. I'm going small. I'm going to have RJ out on the perimeter, and I'm going to have Randall in the middle. And going small.
No Dwayne Bacon in there.
No Dwayne Bacon. No, no Dwayne Bacon. Look, I thought we have some other options as well. I'm thinking about Burks, who was going off in fourth quarters for fun.
And against the Magic every time we play him.
Yeah.
he's a bona fide Magic killer. There.
He's such an unassuming player. Like, you don't expect it, and he's gone for 25. He's, I really like Burks. He's that guy who I don't think kicks up a fuss on the bench, and when he does get his chance and comes in, he sort of takes advantage of it. But yeah, the big choice was between Quickly and Rose, and Rose delivered in the playoffs massively. But I think I'm going for the 3, so I want my 3-point sharpshooter out there on the perimeter ready to hit down the open 3.
What are you hoping to see from Quickly this season?
I mean, I want to see the 3 become a little bit more consistent. I want to see him keep the ball in his hands and be able to create. The problem is with that is that you've signed Derrick Rose again, and the majority of the time on the second unit, Derrick Rose is going to have the ball in his hands. From what you just said about Alec Burks, he likes the ball in his hands. So there's going to be limited opportunity, I think, for him to create. But that's what I'd like to see from him, a little step forward in terms of his creation off the dribble.
So how far are the Knicks going this season then? Are you hoping for winning the first round? Would that be...
That would be good. That would be good. I think that's probably the most realistic, optimistic view.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few teams. The thing with the Knicks is, last year they were pretty much the same. We've made some upgrades, but the majority of the team is very similar. You're going to have young guys who are taking steps, but you've got teams like the Heat. I'm putting across. I know I probably shouldn't mention them on this podcast, but the Heat, we don't really know how good they're going to be, because how much of a difference is Lowry going to make? The Bulls, how much of a difference is DeRozan and Lonzo Ball, and is Vooch going to be that guy still going forward? Are the Pacers going to make a move? Are the Hornets going to? There's so much in the East that feels like the unknown. And that's before your young guys take off, obviously, and you're the surprise of the season. But
like your optimism, mate.
Yeah.
No, but there's a lot of teams. Like with the Hawks, was that real last year at the end of the year when they made that run? You just don't know, do you? So I think first round win is optimistic, but possibility. Anything more than that, we're in dreamland.
Awesome. So what we do every week with each of our guests, we've been doing a bit of Knicks trivia. So we're going to play Who's That Journeyman? Okay. So I'm going to name you all the teams in order that said player had played for, and you've got to guess who that player is.
So they played for the Magic and the Knicks, yeah?
They played for the Magic and the Knicks. And I'm going to throw a stinker in there for G later on. So I'll give Martin a nice. This should be an easy one, but there is a slight connection. In fact, this one he didn't play for the Magic, but there is a connection. So I'll go for it. Okay, so this said player played for the Suns, the Knicks, the Mavericks, and the Heat. Who's that player?
Suns.
Give him the years, mate. Give him the years. Have you got the years?
In a minute. We'll see if we can get it first.
Suns, Knicks, Mavericks. Oh, mine's gone absolutely blank. I know G's going to know this straight up.
Well, it's not a Magic player, mate.
Do you know who? Do you think you know who it is, G?
No, I don't. Oh, you need to tell us the years. You need to tell us the years, mate.
Oh, I've got to find it now. I didn't put that down. Okay, where are we? We have, so he played for the Suns between...
Oh, I got it.
2002, 2010.
He was born. He was from Orlando. That's the connection. That helps anybody.
He played for the Knicks between 2010 and 2015. He was with Dallas in 2015. I don't know how many games he played, just not in front of me. And then he went to Miami for a year before going overseas.
And if you want any more of a clue, we traded the pick, which was him, to the Suns for Bo Outlaw.
Oh.
Mikey. I've been down the rabbit hole, mate.
You want another clue, Martin?
Yes, please.
He was Carmelo Anthony's right-hand man in New York.
Oh.
In fact, he was in New York before Melo went to New York, I believe.
And his first name starts with an A.
Oh, flipping that.
The big man in the middle.
Number 1.
Amari.
Yeah.
Did Amari play for the Heat?
I'll tell you how many games he played.
Mate, they all do at the end of their careers.
Yeah,
that's the Miami thing.
That's the journeyman in him. Yeah, that's what threw you off, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the Suns bit, when you gave the years, the Suns obviously makes complete sense. The Mavericks as well.
He played 23 games for the Mavericks and he played 52 games for the Heat.
Get out.
There you go. That's what threw you off.
Well, there we go.
Okay.
I thought about putting my Amari jersey on tonight as well.
Did you? Right, I'm gonna give Martin one more and then I'm gonna give the stinker to G then.
Yeah,
okay.
Crack on.
So next player played for the Magic, the Suns, the Knicks, and the Heat.
Magic, Suns. Are we having the years? Magic, Suns.
Oh, you want the years now?
Yeah.
See, another one has ended up with a Heat. There's a theme here, isn't there? Yeah,
it's not right, is it? Then this player, it just makes you feel sick, doesn't it? That he's in that uniform. So started his career with the Magic, the Suns, the Knicks, and the Heat.
So when he went Magic, Suns, I was obviously thinking of Peyton, but again, the Heat throws it off.
So the Knicks, he only played 83 games for over 3 years, and he only played 16 games for Miami.
Lovely. Okay.
G's giving you a clue.
Okay.
You see that?
Oh, Tracy.
No,
the other one.
Further back. The OG, number 1.
Okay.
The smallest denomination of a UK currency.
We'll give you a clue. It's in the podcast name. Penny.
Oh, my goodness me.
There you go.
Yeah, Penny. Hardaway, yeah.
There you go. Right. Last one for G then. So
there we go.
Said player was at the Knicks, Sonics, Magic, Wizards, Rockets, Magic, Hornets.
Oh my God, that is a stinker. So Knicks, Sonics, Magic, Wizards. Knicks, Sonic, Magic, Wizards. Oh my gosh. What year was this?
Knicks, Sonics, Magic, Wizards, Rockets, Magic again, Hornets.
Oh, and what year did it start?
Who are you thinking?
Nobody at the moment.
Who did you think of first?
I was thinking maybe nobody started at the Knicks. It's the Sonics Magic link that I'm thinking of because my brother's was a Sonics fan, and you're thinking of players that come over from the Sonics. Hang on, something's going around in my head.
Not for the first time.
It's probably someone like Shamond Williams or something like that.
No, it's more obvious than that, but I've thrown a little curveball in with this one.
Go on.
Do you want to have a guess?
Oh, give us another clue.
I'll give you another clue. Okay,
give me the years.
He played 65. He played 65 games for the Magic.
Well, that doesn't help me. I need the years.
Okay, he played for the Knicks between 1985.
Oh, Jesus.
And 2000.
Oh, I've got it.
So it's Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
But hang on, you've not done player years yet. You've done coach and players.
Yes, I have.
Oh, mate, that is sly.
Funny
I'm
though.
thinking there's Rashard Lewis, there's Shamond Williams, there's Luke Ridnour. They're the only players who played for the Sonics and the Magic.
There you go.
Surely.
Is that who you thought it was, Martin? Yeah.
Yeah. When you said 85, jumped out of that one.
I just wanted to throw a curveball in there last second. There you go.
You did.
Good stuff. Well, Martin, thank you for joining us, mate. Appreciate you coming on and joining us. Do you want to do a little plug where people can find you on Twitter and chat Knicks basketball with you? If there's anybody listening to us.
Yeah, just Knicks UK on Twitter, and I'm usually going back and forth with one of the accounts. But yeah, cheers for having me on. I want to just ask you a quick question before I get out of here. What, if any, last year did the perception change for you of the Knicks?
Ooh, that's a good one.
After about 10 games, because I'm going to be honest, I thought the Knicks were going to be finishing further down the standings last year. So it didn't take them very long before I thought, they've got something going here.
No, I like what the Knicks have done, and they've, rejigged their front office a little bit. And there's a chap there that used to be at the Magic. I can't remember his name now. What's he called? You might be able to help me here, Matt.
What in the
Knicks front office? He used to be on the Magic. Yeah, you know him.
What, Perry?
We've got Walt Perrin.
No.
No, it's not him.
I can see his face as well.
I know.
Because he was there with Hennigan, wasn't he? He was the Knicks general manager.
Oh, Scott Mills.
No,
it's not him.
Sure, no.
Scott Mills, not Scott Mills. Perry.
Scott Perry.
Yeah,
I thought it was Perry. I thought it was Perry. Yeah, Scott Perry.
I've always liked.
He drafted Peyton.
That's right.
I think when he was with Magic.
Yeah, no, I've always liked Scott Perry and the way he goes about his business, and I think the Knicks have got a better front office now than you've had in the past. And let's be honest, the Knicks, the last 20 years have been a little bit of a laughing stock. Across the league, it's New York, it's a big market, it's the Mecca, it's the Garden. People want to play there. You got Stephen A. Smith going on about it the whole time. So it's nice to see the Knicks, almost being back. And I'm all for it. I quite like New York. I certainly like New York more than I like Brooklyn. So I'm happy that the Knicks are back better, and you've got a fantastic player in Evan Fournier this season now. So I wish you the very best, mate.
Your season is going to hinge on Randall at least being the same player he was last year, isn't he? Or he's going to have to take another jump, because you look at the top six in the East from last year: Brooklyn, Milwaukee, New York, Atlanta, Miami, and Philly. You got Boston you can throw in that mix, like we've already said, Chicago. I think people are sleeping on Washington a little bit.
We'll get to that shortly.
With the depth with what they've got. They haven't got necessarily, apart from Bradley Beal, they haven't necessarily got anybody that stands out, but they've got a lot of hustle players on that team. They've got a lot of depth. So it's going to be a tight race this season. It's going to be very interesting in the East. So, I mean,
it's the best the East has been for a long time.
Oh, mate, 100%. Absolutely. And unfortunately, we're not on the mix, but there we go. In maybe 3 years' time. The guy, at least the guy you wanted slipped to you in the draft. Yeah.
We don't know what Toronto were thinking, but thank you, Toronto.
Yeah.
No, we saw him in the summer league, and I wasn't majorly impressed by Barnes. Seems to be one of those picks, a bit like the Patrick Williams pick for the Bulls last year. Sort of a lot of feel, a lot of upside, and sort of I don't know. It seems as though they sort of overthought the pick for me, because Suggs clearly jumped out the page at the top of the draft as one of the best prospects. So,
and especially trading Lowry as well. He'd fit right in there, wouldn't he?
Well, who else have they got? Obviously, they've got Van Vliet,
Siakam,
and the guard who was on the
from
second
Portland. What's he called? The one I've been going on about all last season. I wanted him.
Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah.
OG.
And they've got the young Malachi Flynn's the guy on the second unit. I was thinking of. He played well against us in the summer league, and he did well against us in the regular season. But even Toronto as well, they're back playing in Toronto. You don't know how good they're going to be.
Yeah.
It's wide open, and it should make for a great season.
Again, thank you to Martin for jumping on with us. I just wanted to stump G with that little bit of trivia of Patrick Ewing, which you're still reeling about. The one bit that I forgot to reel off, and the reason I had Amari Stoudemire in there, G mentioned he was born in Orlando, I think you said. Which isn't quite true. When I had a look, so he was born in Lake Wales, Florida, which I believe is in Polk County near Lakeland. So that was the connection with Amari. But yeah, Lake Wales. There you go. There's your
great place. A great place to live.
Is it?
Yeah, it has to be.
Good
Wales,
stuff.
isn't it? God's country and all that.
So we're going to wrap up this episode then and whiz through the 5 remaining teams. So we've got the Hawks, Cavaliers, Pistons, Pacers, and Wizards that we're gonna discuss and have a quick breakdown. So starting with the Atlanta Hawks, then G. So they made the conference finals last season, losing to the Bucks. This off-season, they handed Nate McMillan a new contract extension to stay on as head coach. They drafted Jalen Johnson, 20th overall. They re-signed Solomon Hill, John Collins, Lou Williams, and Clint Capella. They signed Trae Young to a rookie scale extension. They also acquired Delon Wright and signed Gorgie Jen. I think I said that right. Jahlil Okafor. I've got a problem with saying stuff tonight.
It's a good thing Paul ain't here, isn't it?
Exactly. And they also signed Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. So what do you make of the Hawks off season, and what do you think? What are you expecting from them this year? Because they had a good season last year.
They did. I was just about to say their last season was beyond expectations. I think making the conference finals. Shout out to my brother who actually picked the Hawks to get to the. He did say they get to the finals, but he did see them going a bit further. But no, they've had a very good off season. I think Gorgie Deng, Jahlil Okafor, TLC, DeLon Wright, all very capable NBA players to add to the already talented roster with, Trae Young, Clint Capella, John Collins, etc., Bogdanovich, re-signing Nate McMillan. So they got continuity there. They brought in veterans who were able to get it done. So they'll be in the top 5 or 6 of the East, I would say, capable of, doing some damage there. And I think that's a team that's capable of beating anybody on any given night, Mikey. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think so.
So, they're going in the right direction, unfortunately for us.
I think, if my memory serves me right, I think they got off to a slow start and were struggling with injuries at the beginning of last year. And they obviously picked it up and gained a lot of momentum as the year went on. And like you said, surprised everybody by making the conference finals. I don't think any of us really believe that. But last summer was where they really made a bit of a push, wasn't it? Getting Bogdanovich and the big Italian. I can't think of his name now. Gallinari.
Danilo.
So that was them pushing their chips in, and obviously they traded for Clint Capella, didn't they? Before the season before that, towards the end of the year. That's it. So they're certainly building around Trae Young. Like you said, I think it's difficult to see them not being in the top 6 based off of what they did last year and players staying healthy. So,
and we haven't even mentioned Kevin Huerter. He's a shooting guard I really like.
Hey, exactly. Yeah.
So there's a great amount of depth there. So no, it should be a decent season for the Hawks if everyone plays the capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers, then they finished 22-50 last season. They finished just one game above the Magic in the standings. Their big move really this summer was drafting Evan Mobley. They re-signed Jarrett Allen, and they also acquired Larry Markkinen from the Bulls, as well as signing Denzel Valentine. So there's a bit of a log jam starting to accumulate in Cleveland. Well, certainly it looks like that at the moment. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. There's a lot of bigs there.
And we haven't even talked about Taco Fall. Exactly.
Taco Fall in there. No, they've got a very talented roster, but giving all these players minutes, might we see Kevin Love moved? I don't know. They've got, like I said, a big log jam at the 4 and the 5. Very talented roster with Sexton, Garland. They've got Ricky Rubio as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so there's depth there at the guard position. Let's be honest. Then you wouldn't fancy them to get into the top 8, would you? Of the East, looking at the other rosters, they've got a good roster, and their coach JB Bickerstaff has got a lot of talent there, but they've got
a lot of figuring out to do, haven't they? They need to.
Yeah,
they're in a. Are they maybe a step ahead of where we are in terms of?
Probably, yeah. I think
they've got a young
guys
core.
Have got a few more years. They've a few more years on what our guys have got in the league.
Yeah. And I think they're at that stage where now they want to get all these players on the floor, evaluate who they want to move forwards with, who they need to move off of, and start to build around. Because last year there was a lot of talk about them moving on from Colin Sexton, which I'm not sure about that. I think he's probably one of their standout players for me.
Definitely.
It does feel like somebody like Jarrett Allen's maybe somebody that's going to move on eventually. You don't draft.
Well, I just couldn't understand. No, I just couldn't understand how much money they threw at him. That's the issue, I think, with Cleveland. They've got a lot of money tied up in Kevin Love, Jarrett Allen, and then they go after Larry Markkinen. So, something's got to give. It's like the Magic of 2016. It was like Biyombo, Ibaka, and Vucevic front court. Hang on a second. We haven't got enough minutes to go around. And, we'll see how it pans out. But Cleveland might have that same issue.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So where do you see the Cavs finishing? Outside the playoffs, outside the play-in? I think even the play-in might be a bit of a stretch for them.
I think so.
Like we've already said with Martin, I mean, you can argue there's a case that there's already 12 teams in the East that are all capable of pushing the play-in tournament. We haven't even. I know we talked with James last week and talked about the Hornets. We haven't even mentioned them tonight. If you go down the standings from last season, you can really pinpoint the Magic, the Cavs, and the Pistons as the odd 3 out. The other 12 are right in the mix, aren't they? On paper, this is.
Well, myself, I'd add the Wizards to that as well, but we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, so moving on to the Pistons then. So they finished last season 20-52. They won the draft lottery to our disappointment, and they ended up drafting Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall. They also signed Trey Lyles, Kelly Olynyk, Corey Joseph, Rodney Magruder, and Luka Garza, and they also re-signed Saban Lee and Hamidou Diallo. It's all about Cade Cunningham, isn't it? In Detroit.
I don't think there's that much else there. People are saying we'll finish the worst record in the league, and you look at that roster, and you've named a couple of players. Cade Cunningham, he hasn't even played a minute in the NBA for starters. You got Jeremy Grant, Killian Hayes, Saban Lee, Kelly Olynyk, who I like a lot. You got Stewart, Sadiq Bey, who had a decent season last year in fairness to him. But Dwayne Casey's going to have a lot of losses to deal with. Let's be honest. For me, I think they'll finish last in the East. There's potential, obviously, with all these young players, but there's not enough veterans along with talent for me. How do you see it, mate?
I don't know. If Jeremy Grant has another season like last year, because people were putting him in that all-star conversation, if Cade Cunningham comes in and has a Luka Doncic type rookie season, I'm not saying he's on Luka Doncic's level, but you think Luka coming into the NBA took the league by storm and everybody stood up and took notice right away. If Cade Cunningham is legit that good, then if he can have a similar kind of impact, if you pair him with Jeremy Grant, it's very quickly a bit of a wing.
I see what you mean, but I think Doncic has a lot. I think Doncic has a lot more,
of course,
off that offense and a lot better players around him. So there's going to be a lot on Cade's shoulders, I think. And you never know. His first season in the NBA, so it's 82 games. He's probably going to get worn down quite quickly. Let's be honest. So it'll be a matter of getting used to the schedule, the ways of the league, and the Pistons will be down there, I think, potentially with us and the Cavs.
But again, I mean, you can say this for all three. I think the Magic, the Pistons, and the Cavs are the bottom three. It's hard not to see anything else other than that. But all three have some nice young pieces that they can all build around. And like we haven't talked about Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, I'm expecting good things from. Hamidou Diallo has still got some potential.
Yeah, he's good defensively.
He stood out when he went to Detroit last year. So and again, like we've done, they've added Corey Joseph, Rodney Magruder, Kelly Olynyk. So they've got some veteran players to surround them with as well. I just think we're all in a similar tier, to be honest. If any, go on.
The worst thing is, at the beginning of the season, we'll all want us to win. So we'll play the Pistons, we'll play the Cavs, and we'll be like, yes, we got to win. If it comes to February and we're down in the dungeon, and we see a Pistons Cavs game, we'll be thinking. Some people might be thinking, "Oh, let's throw that game and get better lottery on."
It's going to happen. That in there. We know it's going to happen at some point. And they're all young teams. They're all going to go through struggles this year. Yeah. Like you said, the young players coming out of college, they're not going to be playing 35 games now. They're going to be it's going to be an 82 game heavy schedule. They're going to be playing 2 games in 2 nights and 3 games in 4 nights. They're going to be doing a lot of more traveling.
And against better players as well.
Mate, playing against grown men. Exactly. So, it's going to be a year of, like I said, for us, and again, these 2 teams fall into the same category. It's more of a case of, right, who do we move forward with? Who can really develop into something we can build around? Okay. Right. Pacers. Yeah. Indiana Pacers. They finished 9th last year. They lost to the Wizards in the play-in tournament just to miss out on the playoffs. They drafted Chris Duarte. They acquired Isaiah Jackson via trade, who was drafted 22nd overall in the draft. They signed Torrey Craig and re-signed TJ McConnell. So, what do we reckon about the Pacers?
I was just going to say, do we have to?
No, come on.
No, I'm joking. Well, they got Rick Carlisle back, haven't they? Replacing Nate Bjorkman. So that's obviously an upgrade, although I thought Bjorkman did a decent job last year with Indiana. Still got their core, haven't they? Brogdon, Sabonis, Turner. Karis LeVert, I think he's got an injury, hasn't he? Karis LeVert. He's gone down the last couple of days.
I think so.
Obviously that's going to hurt them. TJ Warren, you just mentioned, Jeremy Lamb. So there's a good core there of 5 or 6. Then you add a couple of the rookies to it, a couple of the new signings. Justin Holiday always seems to have an amazing game against the Magic. So chances that happen again. For me, they haven't done anything that puts them ahead of where they were last year. And you look at the teams like the Bulls and the Heat, a couple of the others that have possibly leapfrogged them. So they'll be in and around, around the playoffs. They'll probably get in because they always seem to, but then they'll probably get swept in the first round, which is the Indiana thing, unfortunately, for them at the moment. How about you, mate?
There was a lot of rumblings last year about the disconnect between the coaching and the players last year. And Rick Carlisle was a bloody good head coach. And it's very difficult because we've seen it with Steve Clifford. You change your coaching and that can give you a bit of a bump, even just by sticking with the same core. Again, looking on paper, they look like one of the teams that might get squeezed out of that playoff picture. But I still think they're going to make the play-in at the very least. Like I said, they've got a very good head coach. They've got a very good starting 5. If TJ Warren can come back and I mean, when you think back to the bubble, I mean, he was on fire in the bubble.
Yeah, I know.
If TJ Warren can bring something more consistent like that over 82 games next year and he can stay healthy, then the Pacers might be the surprise in the East this year. I don't mean like they're going to finish 4th or anything like that, but I think it's very easy to sleep on the Pacers when you see the other teams improving around them. So,
in fairness, though, every year everybody sleeps on the Pacers. They do.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. They always, they won't make the playoffs this year, but they always do. In fairness to them,
yeah.
So credit where credit's due. They've got a good system there, and it obviously works.
I mean, we've already said that the East is going to be an absolute dogfight this year. So, and the Pacers are going to be in the thick of it as well. So,
yeah,
we'll see what happens. Okay, so finishing off with the Washington Wizards, they only really made two major things that happened at this offseason. So they acquired Spencer Dinwiddie from the Brooklyn Nets. Aaron Holiday, Kyle Kuzma, Montrez Harold, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in a 5-team trade that involved the Lakers with Russell Westbrook going the other way. They re-signed Raul Neto and they drafted forward Corey Kispert, number 15th overall. Okay. I think this is where we differ a little bit on the Wizards.
No, I'm just looking at the roster now, mate, and actually maybe they've probably got a lot. They're quite deep, aren't they? But the only thing is they have got a brand new head coach in Wes Unseld Jr., who we know in Orlando is an assistant coach to previous teams.
Because we talked about we briefly talked about the Wizards the other week, and you were like, "Nah, the Wizards aren't nothing." I'm like, "Mate, they've got some serious depth there now." Again, Bradley Beal's the standout player.
Yeah.
But go on.
But go on, like you said, you got Beal, Bertans can put the ball in the hoop. Thomas Bryant shown he's capable. Caldwell Pope's a very capable outside shooter. Dinwiddie can get it done. Hachimura. They think highly of him. Montrez Harold's, he's an animal down in the trenches. And they drafted Corey Kispert, who was very high on my draft board, which is a bit annoyed the Magic didn't get Kispert. And they've also got Kyle Kuzma, who will just glaze over. And then Denny Avdia, who's their rookie from last season. He was quite good last year, in stretches. So there's 8, 9, 10 deep there.
Bertan's ability to spread the floor. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, but you just kind of think of Washington. You think, oh yeah, it's just Washington. But they'll get into. Yeah, no, I think you're right, mate.
There's people laughing at you. There's people laughing at you when they listen to that, and they'll be like, "Yeah, but you're an Orlando fan. You've got nothing at the moment." But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But I said it a few weeks ago. I think they've got some. If again,
but it's going to be an important season for them because
they are desperate to keep hold of Bradley Beal. I mean, if they lose him, it's all irrelevant, isn't it? But like I said, they've got some really nice players. Like I said, Spencer Dinwiddie next to Bradley Beal, Bertan's ability to spread the floor, Advia. I'm doing a pull.
Avdia.
That's the one. Well, he started a lot of games last year. I think he took a bit of time to adapt, but as the season went on, he looked more and more comfortable. They got Montrez Harold, an absolute animal, isn't he? He's an absolute beast. Yeah. He's one of those players. He's like MCW. He's going to give you that.
Gutted, though. He's been traded to Washington.
Oh, mate, can you imagine Kyle Kuzma, eh? Every Magic fan's favourite player on another team. Can't play with the king anymore. Mate, they've got some depth there. That, again, I would put them in the same sort of similar category as the Pacers in that they're going to be in the thick of it this season, trying to make the play-in, trying to make the playoffs. Like I said, there's so many teams there that have improved this season.
Yeah, I agree. I go back on my my comment when we were talking about the Cavs, about the Wizards. So I think they'll probably be in and around there, but hopefully they won't be.
So we're going to leave our final predictions to next week when Paul's on, because we had this conversation earlier. So we've gone through all 15 teams. If you haven't already, go and check out our last 4 episodes. We've had the Boston Brit on. I think
Dan Healy.
Yeah, we've had Dan Healy, Bobby Healy covering the Sixers.
Jimmy Sink.
Yeah, Sean covering the Bucks. We've had loads of UK guests on. So if you haven't yet, check out those episodes and get a perspective from some of the UK fans that follow their own teams. So definitely worth a listen. This is going to wrap up our Eastern Conference preview. Next week, we are recording on Thursday. Like we already said earlier in the show, Paul's going to be back with us next week. Our attention is going to be fully back on the Magic. We would have already had 2 preseason games in the books. It'd be nice to talk about Magic basketball again, and then we can get a look at some of these young players back on the floor. So, yeah, you excited for next week, G?
I am, mate. It'd be nice to get some basketball that actually means something.
Yeah.
Well, I say means something, but it's the Magic, isn't it? It's better than watching anything else. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Okay. So thank you as always for listening and watching. For the latest news, visit our website, orlandomagicuk.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Orlando Magic UK. You can find all our affiliate links for NBA League Pass UK, the official NBA Store Europe, and Fanatics UK in the description. We have posted the links for NBA League Pass. So if you're in the middle of purchasing a new subscription for the season, use our links and that will help us out. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, hit that notification button so you don't miss any future episodes. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us some comments below. And from Garant and me until next week, go Magic.